going on?
All of the things. The candle business has been good. The wine business has been good. The hospital is super, super busy. I've been with my girls. They had a little Christmas event at their school today. And we're just getting ready to celebrate the holidays.
Are you guys doing anything fun?
No, there will be no fun had.
It's like chill, like, right. Everyone's like, what are you doing? I'm like, nothing. I'm
doing nothing. I've been traveling up the butt, crazy. My kids are tired. I'm like, what do you guys want to do? And they're like, we just want to watch movies and cuddle in bed. And I was like, done.
Oh, I love that they say that though, especially girls, because I just feel like I'm waiting for that moment. My mind's only 3, but I'm waiting for that moment. You know more because they're older, but like that moment when she's like, I hate you, mom. Like
wait, it's coming.
Are you there ever?
Well, Daniel has kids from his previous marriage whom I met when they were 4. And so I got to already experience sort of raising children because I was a stepmom before I became a mom. And I remember like around age like 13, 14, like girls become a little bit difficult, if you know what I mean.
That's when it started. Wait a minute. Did I know, how old are his kids then?
They are 17. They're twins as well.
Shut up.
Yeah, so he has 2 sets of twins.
2 twins?
Yes.
Oh, so he did this to you?
Well, I had spontaneous twins. Like I just got pregnant and, went to my ultrasound and they were like, you're having twins. They had done IVF. So I guess with like assisted reproductive technologies, it's more common to have multiples, but I just had spontaneous twins.
Wait a minute. Okay. So they were 4. So you guys
I met them
13 years.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So then, and the twins now are 8? No.
My girls are 7.
7. Okay. Oh, you had spontaneous twins.
I know, it's crazy. And people are like, how did you do that? And I was like, I have no idea. And then my friend had made a joke about it back then. And she was like, oh my God, Tiff. She was like, even your ovaries are overachievers. And then it sort of just stuck, And so that's like, was one of the things that I like talked about.
It's crazy because you know what? I'm like such a creeper where if someone says twins, because I had to go through IVF, it was really hard for me to get pregnant. I'm like, you didn't do that naturally, did you? And they're like, whoa, just calm down. Like buy me some dinner first before you know how it's so crazy to me anymore in this day to hear about people having twins naturally.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I don't know that I would have planned it that way because it was really hard. I was on bed rest for 6 weeks and had preterm labor and, all those like pregnancy type complications. But now that it's done and I have 2 beautiful, healthy children, I'm like, oh, that was great because I got it done in one shot because I always said I wanted 2 kids, 2 babies, no matter what gender, no third. And so I had twins and I was like, oh, I can be done. Just tie my tubes up. Shop is closed, no more.
But did you ever then finding out that they were both girls, did you ever be like, I want a boy?
I thought that, and like my parents are very traditional Chinese, and so they believe that, boys are valued more than girls. I mean, that's
right, of course,
a common belief that a lot of people have. And so sometimes my dad will be like, are you sure you don't want to have a boy? And I'm like, I'm sure, like for me, but it seems that you are upset that you're not going to have a grandson. So is this about me or is this about you? And he's like, whatever, do whatever.
He's like, and point, I'm done.
Yeah, he's like, go away. So you're annoying me.
No boys, 4 girls.
Oh, my older stepkids is boy-girl twins.
Oh, so you have a boy.
I have a boy. He's my stepson. But I don't have a biological
son. Right.
Yeah.
But you know how it is. Listen, I'm the same thing. Like my parents divorced when I was 5, both remarried when I was 6. I'm like, I have sisters. They're like, oh, but which ones are your? I'm like, listen, at that point, they're all your sisters. They're all your kids. It's like, I mean, did you talk about that on the show?
No, because they were not 18. And so they did not have permission to be shown or talked about. So it's like this big black hole. So, Housewives season 5 was such a funny thing that happened in my life because I have these stepkids that are with us half the time. And I'm incredibly close to my stepdaughter, Nicole. She and I, were basically best friends during quarantine because we didn't hang out with anyone else. And we would just do TikTok dances together. And
Right.
then also, I was working as a full-time doctor while filming season 5, but my work did not allow me to talk about my work. And my stepkids' mom did not allow me to talk about my stepkids. So it's like these two huge parts of my life while we were filming, we just had to like ignore. We could say like, oh, Tiffany's a doctor, Tiffany's an anesthesiologist, but like they couldn't film me going to the hospital, coming home from the hospital, wearing scrubs, saying the name of the hospital I worked at, which is easily Googleable.
Right.
Getting off work, like showing up to a party late because I was stuck in the OR, and then I had to go home and like change and get into hair and makeup and then go to an event. Like all that thing, it's like we just pretended like it didn't exist. And I feel like when people watch the show in its little capsule, like it doesn't at all show what was happening in my life at that time.
Right. Because I'm sitting here and I'm like, wait a minute, I know these things. Why do I not know this? And now I feel like an a-hole because I don't know this.
No, you're not an a-hole at all. And like, they made it be that way. Like I had to sign a contract saying, I will not talk about my work. I will not talk about my stepkids. And those were for very good reasons. But like, I don't know, when you watch reality TV, that's the thing. Like, as the viewer, it's like, is that really reality? I mean, it is. All the things that happened were real. Like they were not manufactured for drama or anything like that. So they were real. But did it in totality encapsulate like the life of Tiffany Moon? And I think the answer for me is no. Maybe the answer for some of the other women is yes, it did show all of their lives, but for me, it really didn't.
That Tiffany, the fact that you just said about the 2 stepkids, right? And the fact that they are there with you part-time and you're filming a show for what? How many? 3 months? More? 3 months?
12 weeks. 12 weeks, yeah.
So wait, okay, so cameras are there. If if your stepkids were ever there, did they just go in a separate room or?
Yeah, I mean, for my home scenes, they're all scheduled. So the thing about Housewives is not like they're just at your house all the time, like Big Brother, where you like can't go anywhere without someone hearing. It's very scheduled. It's like Tuesday, we're going to be at your house. We want to see you playing with your kids, you talking to your husband, stuff like that. So I would know. And so Tuesday, usually we try to do a lot of the scenes while the older kids, weren't here, like they were at their mom's house. So they'd be like, oh, that's not a really good week for us because we had the older kids that week and it was summer. We filmed during the summer and it was COVID. So, it's not like I could be like, oh, why don't you go to your friend's house or, to the country club or something. Like they didn't have anywhere to go. And I didn't want to like, make them like stuck in their rooms because I'm filming. So I would just tell production, like, I can't film any home scenes this week because my stepchildren are here that week, and they would work around it.
But for you, like you're like, okay, I'm doing a reality show. My reality is I have 4 kids, right? My reality
only 2 of which are allowed to be on TV.
So then okay, of course you said, listen, I'll do the show. We won't film my stepkids, but then doing the show, did that cause any extra tension or like with the mom?
No, I think like before, I mean, you have to understand, my husband and I have been together for 13 years, married for almost 10. So I think at the very beginning when we got married and she still was single, there were some, feelings of animosity maybe. But she is also remarried now and has 3 stepchildren of her own. So I think she understands what it's like to be a stepmom because she is one now. And so she's much more flexible with scheduling and things like that. So, we get along fine now, but it wasn't always that case.
Of course. Is it ever? I mean,
Yeah.
it's been 30 years and my parents like won't even communicate. So,
but there's those people that like they go on vacation with like
no.
their new spouse and their old spouse. Do you know there's like I can't, it's off the top of my head, like a Hollywood couple, and they've parted ways, but then during Christmas, like they get together with all the kids and they all bring their like new girlfriend, boyfriend. It's like a whole Brady bunch. I don't
Listen,
know.
I appreciate that because mine was not fun growing up, like the divorces and stuff. But like actually the Frank who I was telling you about, he is the ex-husband to Dolores, who is a Jersey housewife. Dolores is with a new guy, but all of them intertwine.
Right. Like all have Thanksgiving dinner together, right? Like everyone's cool.
I'm like, dude, that is not, I can't even breathe like each other's names, let alone freaking have booze and some turkey together. But cool. I mean, I love that for them, but like
I love that too. It's so very progressive. Yes, yes. Every blended family should be so progressive.
Were you just like, because again, working is such a big part of your life too. Were you just like, I want to show people in my element? So was that tough for you, than not being able to show anything with work?
Yeah, that was one of the hardest things, because people are like, oh, if she mentions that she's a doctor one more time. And I'm like, do you say that to teachers or like firemen? Like, you know, I mean, I spend like 50 hours a week at the hospital. So of course I'm going to talk about it, you know?
Totally.
And it was just this big black hole. And because I was working full time and filming, it caused me to be very tired and stressed out. And you know, it sounds like I'm complaining. People are like, wah, 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 you know, but like when we traveled for the cast trips, or when people are like shoving shots in my face, like I had to go to work the next morning. Like that's what you don't see. And so it looks like I'm being a spoil sport, or, you know, not trying to get along with the ladies. And I'm like, no, I had a 2-drink maximum on nights where I needed to work the next day because I'm trying to keep my job.
Right. Did your job, like the hospital, after it's airing, did you get any heat or anything from them?
A little bit. I think more informally, like through the grapevines, where people are like whispering about it in the doctor's lounge and you kind of hear it through the grapevine, that kind of sort of thing.
Right.
I was not officially reprimanded, if you know, like disciplinary action or like that, because frankly, I didn't do anything wrong. Like, you know, did I come into work late one time during filming? Nope. Did I ever call in a day sick during filming? Nope. Like I picked up extra shifts during filming in order to prove to my work that filming wasn't affecting my work performance. I was like, F you, I'm going to pick up an extra shift. and then at home, I was like, I'm dying.
You're like, okay, leave me alone, kids. Bye. Go to your separate corners. Mommy needs a cocktail and like to sit down and decompress.
The people who suffered the worst, besides me, myself, during filming, were my husband and my children. My work did not suffer at all. My work, if I didn't tell them that I was filming, they would have never even known, because my work performance did not change at all. My children suffered and my husband suffered because I was but an empty shell of a person by the time that I got to them.
Because you were just so exhausted from work, from the filming, from the cameras, the drama, everything.
Yep. And I told them, I said, mommy's not going to be, you know, 100% mommy for the next however many weeks until filming, because I had to give everything to, first priority was my job as a physician. My second job was filming. And then third was being a wife and a mom. And that's how I prioritized during those 12 weeks of filming. And people can judge me harshly for that. I talked to my kids about it. They were 5 at the time, so they didn't have a whole lot to say. But mostly I talked to my husband about it. And he said, no, I think this is a finite project. It's something that you want to do and want to try. It's a very unique opportunity. And he's like, 12 weeks. He was like, babe, we got the whole rest of our lives together. What's 12 weeks? And I was like, oh, why do you have to be so perfect all the time?
I know, right? You're like, tell me, kind of be a dick about it. So I feel like maybe
because Yeah, I mean, he's so perfect, always says the right thing, is always so supportive, like exactly like who you saw on TV. That is him 100%.
So you come, okay, all the madness that you have going on. You're a doctor, you're working crazy hours, you have twins that are 5. They're still young, they're not self-sufficient, right? I mean, they're not like they're 13 and they can like do their thing, right? So in what world were you like, let me do this show? Like, I think we should do the show. Like, why? What made you really want to do it?
I wanted to do it because it was unlike anything I had ever done. And a part of me also wanted to do it because people told me that I could not. And nothing will make me want to do something more than when someone tells me I cannot. They were like, what do you mean be on a TV show and film like 40 hours a week while you're working and have kids? And like, you can't. And I'm like, who said I can't? And they're like, you just can't. And I was like, but I can, and I will. Watch me.
Who said you can't? Like family?
No, not family, just friends and people in the hospital. I talked to some of my older mentors in the hospital, both men and women. And many of them advised me. They said, if you go on this show, it will be career suicide for you. No one will trust your medical judgment if you go on this reality show.
No.
And I said, well, why is that? Why does being on this TV show, does that change, the type of anesthesia that I do? Does it change the professionalism and dedication that I have to my patients? Like, it doesn't. And I think for people to automatically assume such says something about our society. That women who, particularly women who do outside extracurricular things, are then seen as like less than in their professional sphere. Whereas it's not as much of a hit on men.
Totally. Totally. Across the board.
That's my 2 cents. Maybe I'm going to get heat for saying that, but that is my opinion.
Especially the mom, like, what do you mean? You're going to, you're a mom, you have kids. You can't do this.
Right. Yeah.
That is insane. So you're like, okay, well now I'm going to do it just because you told me I should not do it.
Well, partially, yes. And also I wanted to do it because I think that representation does matter. And I think, I was lucky at the time that they were expanding to a more racially diverse cast. And as a first generation Asian American, I felt it important to bring my upbringing and my culture and my identity to the screen. Because when I was growing up as a child, the 1 hour of TV I was allowed to watch, like I never saw anyone like me talk about being an immigrant, learning English, struggling, everything was all about like, the popular kids, like Full House, like Saved by the Bell, like that kind of thing. Yeah. So I was like, if I can go on TV and show young girls, particularly young Asian American girls, that you can be a professional, you can have a sense of humor, you can drop occasional F-bombs and still be a wonderful human being who is empathetic and a good mother and a good wife and a good friend. Like, I don't know why people like to make some of those things like mutually exclusive. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I thought if I go on TV and just try to portray myself in all my authenticness, maybe I will inspire other little girls to just be themselves because they see me doing it.
Right. Well, especially with Dallas, all white cast, the whole
Dallas
whole series.
I mean, I love Dallas. I'll probably live here for the rest of my life. So let me not say terrible things about my city because I do love Dallas and the people here. But the cast, I think, and this season in particular was problematic in many ways.
Right. So so back up to starting. We see you introduced through Mama D and Deandra. Was that real? Like you guys were, like that's how you were actually friends with Mama D and Deandra.
Oh no.
I can hear you.
Oh no. Melissa?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay. It was like 30 seconds of like total frozen. Okay.
Good. Good.
It says my internet connection is unstable. Great. Okay.
Instability is everything in my world. So we're good, girl. I got you.
Yeah, I met Mama D first through her work at the hospital. And then she introduced me to Deandra. And then Deandra introduced me to the show.
So Deandra was like, hey, we got to cast out. They're looking. Would you want to do, she actually said, would you want to do this show and brought it to you?
Yeah.
Mama D.
I went to several. Oh, Mama D, yes. She always, because we used to hang out and have dinner and have drinks and stuff. And it was her idea first. I will give Mama D credit for that, because we were talking about something. And then during filming, like Deandra would miss our every month on a Friday, Deandra and my friend Stephanie and I would all get together and have dinner. But during filming, Deandra would never come because she was busy filming. And so one day Mama D was like, Tiffany, you should go on that show. Deandra told me that they were just doing this and arguing about this. And she was like, you need to just go in there and shut them girls down. And I was like, no, D, that is not my cup of tea. I don't have time for that. I don't have all those things, because Deandra actually asked me 2 seasons ago. So she tried to get me to join after her first season, which was season 2. So they were casting for season 3. And that's when Carrie Duber recommended Carrie Brittingham.
Right.
And then Deandra wanted me to go in during that time. But that time I was still very wary of the show. I was like, no, I don't want to do it. I don't know any of those other girls. I don't, And then Deandra just wore me down. She wore me down. So season 3, I didn't even consider it. And then season 4, I was like, I don't know. And then she was telling me about all these fabulous trips that they went on. And that was what grabbed me. And then for season 5, I was like, fine, I'll talk to the producer. She just wore me down. And I really didn't think anything of it, because I never thought that they would actually pick me. You know what I mean?
Right.
When I was these Zoom meetings with producers and then the head of the production company, I just never thought that they would pick me. So I didn't take it that seriously. And then afterwards, they didn't call me for 2 weeks. So I just assumed that they didn't pick me. I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear good. I didn't hear bad. So I just assumed whatever, they moved on. There's so many other women that are probably, more interesting than me that they would want. So I just didn't do anything. And then one day my phone rang, and it was the production head. And he was like, we'd love you to join season 5 of RHOD. And I was like, are you serious? And all this was right before COVID started.
So were you when you get the call, were you yay? Or were you oh shit, this is actually real? What?
Yeah. I think the first thing I felt was disbelief, or is this a joke? Right? I really thought it could be. And then when he was like, no, this is not a joke. We plan to start, this was in February of 2020 that he called me. And then he said, we want to start shooting in April. Well, guess what happened between February and April? Freaking COVID, which I did not see coming at all. And so that messed everything up. But I was in shock. And then I was sort of am I really going to do this? And he was like, well, you have to. And I was like, oh, is there someone else on a list you can call? Maybe a sub. And then I actually asked them, I said, can I just be a friend of? I asked before we even started filming ever. I said, I don't know, this is more of a commitment than I bit off more than I can chew. I'm so sorry. Would it be okay if I was just a friend of? And he said, no. He said, you either come on as a full-time cast, or, you can sit this one out. And he's like, we need you, you're going to be great. Gave me this pep talk. Cause I was
they know how to reel you in, baby. They get you in.
They sure did. But I will tell you, once I signed the contract and once we started filming, I was like, the train has left the station. You're on it now. And if you're going to be on it, do your best. Yeah, exactly.
So, okay. So, Deandra, And that's it. Did you know
That's
anybody
it.
else?
No,
Nobody.
no, I didn't have any of their phone numbers in my phone. I had never been to any of their homes. I had been at events with them before, but you know, we have huge events here where there's like hundreds of people
Right.
and you meet them and stuff like that. So, I mean, I knew who they were, but no, like I couldn't call up any of them to actually ask for advice or anything.
So then you go and you're meeting oh wait, no, Leanne was off at this point.
Right.
Okay.
Leanne and I never filmed together.
Right. Well, okay. Side note, how did you and Leanne get so close?
We have two mutual friends that are very close. Like I have two friends that are very close with her. And so we just all like hung out. Dallas is small,
right, of course.
No, and especially the kind of things that we do in the restaurants we go to, like you just
in the circles, you kind of
you run into the same people over
right,
and over.
Right.
But I will say, for as long as I've known Leanne, she has been nothing but lovely to me.
By the way, I think I told you, I think when we were just talking,
yeah,
I just had Leanne on. It was insanity what she was, for real, like what she was saying about you, and like, and but then I went back and it was so sweet, and I was like kind of caught up in the moment, and then afterwards I was like, wait a minute, you guys never even filmed together. So
no,
that's why I didn't understand where it came from.
Our you know, friendship has come from mutual friends and also our love of giving back to the community through our charity work. So we've crossed paths through some sort of, you know, charity events that she's emceed and I was on the board of and things like that. And we just have really big hearts that we both want to open to the community. So I think that's like where we first aligned. And I mean, I think she's hilarious. Like she is the mouth of the South. Like she entertains me all day long, all the time. Like it's always a good time with her, you know, like sometimes I'm just tired or not feeling great. Like she'll cheer me up because she's just always so entertaining. Like she's a natural born entertainer. I had to try hard when the cameras were on. I had to like drink a cup of coffee, like give myself a pep talk. My field producer had to give me a pep talk. I had to like go into the game. Like, okay, coach, put me in.
Let's go. I'm ready.
Yeah, Leanne is born ready. She's the one on the field saying, come on, girl, we're waiting for you. Like, you know, she is extrovert to the max. And I am actually an introvert, which perhaps in retrospect is not the greatest thing for someone to be on reality TV.
Right. So exactly. So two things that until meeting Leanne like this, I get exactly what you're saying. Like all of it to a T, because I was like, I'm a spaz. She makes me feel like a calm, quiet wallflower because she's so much, right? So I totally get that. And then, but for you, were you like, oh, okay, the cameras is not like, did you feel like you said, like, I need to get myself ready for this, like the camera?
Yeah, I had to psych myself up for it. And, you know, the very first like filming was the pool party that Stephanie had at her home. And they were like, you got to talk to Brandy about her video. And I was like, why do I got to talk? Like, I don't care about
right off the bat, Tiffany. That's right.
They're like, but you got to talk to her about it. And I was like, oh, you know, but I am a rule follower and I do what the teacher says. So, you know, I mostly did what the producers suggested for me to do because I thought that that's what everyone was doing. Right. And then later, you know, like several weeks in, they're like, don't do that. And I'm like, but so-and-so told us that and they're like, so? And I'm like,
you didn't know the game yet. It was your first season. You didn't know the game.
I was, yeah.
You were the rookie, and these people, other than no, all of them were vets. Like you were the only rookie.
Yeah, and no one had any wisdom or advice to impart onto me other than, you know, be yourself, have fun. Like, no, you know, no one really pulled me aside and said like, hey, you know, this is the deal. Like, so that's how it went.
Did the producers, aka the teachers, were they really like, let's talk about this a lot?
I mean, not a lot, but there were certain topics that, you know, if we kept going and yada yada and whatever, they would have to redirect. You know, they
Right.
never put words in our mouth. They never handed us a script, but they were like, don't forget to talk about that thing that happened last Thursday. And we were like, oh yeah, oh yeah. You know, like,
So
I mean, they were just doing their job.
So, but you start, right? You're like, this is a new world for me. And the first thing that I have to get into is this video that one of my cast, were you just like, oh my gosh, and is this really happening? And do you think you would have even brought it up in a normal situation had you seen Brandy off camera?
No, I would have never brought it up because it
Right.
was like something that was like 6 months ago. And like back when it happened, she and I didn't even know each other. So no, it would have never come up.
So you literally hit the ground running into this whole drama with video with Brandy in the video. Like, how
Yeah.
was that for you?
I mean, it was fine. I just tried to, you know, touch upon my personal experience because whenever I felt at a loss for words during filming, I thought, well, I'll just talk about my personal experience because no one can invalidate that. You know, I don't really know what's going on right now with her and all this stuff. And I didn't know that it had caused her so much mental anguish and that she had received so many disheartening messages when that video came out. I didn't know any of that stuff. Right. So you know, I'm sitting with her filming and then she's talking about like she received death threats and she was suicidal and she had to go to a treatment facility. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. Like, I would never wish that upon anyone. And I actually never had a problem with Brandy, like never. Still to this day, like, you know, she may have whatever feelings she has towards me. We never became close, but I never had a problem with her. And they wanted me so much too.
Right. Of course they did. Right. It's like, dude, I have to pile on this with this woman. Like she's already been, and that's,
Yeah.
by the way, though, that's a testament to you because you could have easily and piled on. And she was clearly going through a lot of shit already.
Yeah, I can't like pretend to be upset with someone that I'm not upset with for the same reason that I can't pretend not to be upset with someone that I am truly upset with.
Right.
And I think you guys got to see that too.
So how was it then? You know nobody except for Deandra. And Stephanie and Brandy are best friends. Carrie's in there, Camp. How was it then meeting the rest of the ladies?
I must be really naive because I really thought that it would just be like Deandra brings me into her friend group and then slowly I would become friends with all of the women. Like I just figured that that's how it would be and that sometimes we'd have disagreements and arguments like any other natural friend circle. But what I didn't expect was that people would like gang up together and like actively try to take me down. Like I think that's what probably hurt the most.
I mean, Tiffany, what is going, like, I can't even with all this stuff. Like, where are you right now with it all? With like the chicken foot and like all this? Where are you? How are you?
I mean, I am good. Like I was just on the phone with my executive producer, just chit chatting, like we're still friends. She was asking about the comedy set that I did like a month ago. And she said this to me on the phone. She said, "You are the happiest I have heard you in a year." And I was like, yeah, because I'm not a part of the show anymore. And she's like, yeah, probably that's true. So people always ask me like, what am I up to now that the show's over? And I'm like, I'm up to my whole ass life. Like I still work at the hospital. The girls are 7 now. We hang out together. We take trips. I have my candle line and my wine line. Like I'm doing like all the things.
Right.
Yeah. And, I feel like that was such a good opportunity for me then, but like that chapter is closed. Like
The Housewives.
Yes.
Done.
Yes, done. I'm so grateful that I had the opportunity to participate on it, but like there was just no way I was going to sign on for another season like the way this season ended. You know what I mean? Like that just was not going to happen. I mean, I had changed my profile to like previous cast member, like back in April or I don't know when, before Reunion even filmed, and then Reunion filmed. And I was like, I am so done, like so done. When I walked out of my room in New York, I was like, I'm done.
Never again. So you, even if they would have been like, we're having a season 6, you would have been like, hell to the no.
Well, I did not say hell to the no. I said, you know, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. So if this is going to be the cast, then no, thank you. And there was some talks about a big cast shakeup.
Right.
And so I said, you know, if potentially that happens, then I would do another season, because then I would be on with my actual friends.
Right.
You know.
Right. Right.
So unfortunately, that didn't pan out for a variety of reasons, but I'm actually really grateful and relieved not to be involved with the franchise right now. Like, there's no bad blood with, you know, production and with the network. I have no bad blood whatsoever. So I would definitely consider it, like, if it came back in 2 or 3 years. But like at the time that we would have needed to start filming for season 6, like, it just, the cast was not gelling together.
No. And you know what? It's across the board, whomever I've talked with, they say, you know, there's 3 parts of being a housewife. It's like the filming, the watching back, and the reunion. And that was your first taste of a reunion. Were you just like, what was harder, the reunion or the season filming?
I mean, the season was harder because it was longer and there was just really more. A reunion, you know, is one day. So however hard it is in your life, I always say, like, it was a day. How hard could it have been? You know what I mean?
Right.
But reunion was hard for me because I thought I was going to go there and like have closure, talk it out, you know, make nice. And as you saw, that is not what happened. I felt completely like accosted and taken aback. So, you know, I mean, my last minute of being on TV was having a nosebleed come out of my face, because
oh my God, that's right. I remember.
I think my blood pressure was just so high by that point. We had started late because production had to go get like film equipment to the hotel room for the cast members that had to Zoom virtually. I was like, you've got to be shitting me right now. So we were supposed to start at like, let's say 10 a.m. ish. We started at 2 p.m. So everyone's already exhausted, like, by the time we start, because we all got there around 7 a.m. And I had flown in just the previous day before. I mean, everyone's tired and cranky, you know? And so we're starting at 2. I think we went until like 10 or 11 or something. And I think my blood pressure was just so high by that point, dealing with all the, like, you know, hits that had come my way from across the other side of the room, that like one small little blood vessel in my nose was just like, I am not having it anymore. It was like, boop. And you just see this blood trickling. And Andy, like, I think you have a, I was like, oh my God, who has a nosebleed on TV? Like,
nobody.
Like, I was like, I was talking to Deandra. I was like, I'm so mortified. Like, that is so embarrassing. And she goes, don't worry, they'll cut that part out. I was like, yeah. No one wants to see that anyway. She's like, they'll cut that out.
Well, there you go. Icing on the cake for you. What?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, you start the freaking season, Tiffany, with this video, and then everything going on, right? To the ending with Cam. What was the hardest part of all of this, of filming and doing the show?
One hard thing is that I had to come to terms with a lot of things that I was insecure with, like, you know, my relationship with my mother, and if I'm being a good mom, you know, I'm missing out on a lot of, you know, activities in my kid's life, and that caused me to take a step back at my work. So that was like the personal struggle that I was dealing with. And then I would say the hardest thing, you know, about the interactions with the other ladies is that I don't want to put it all on them, because we did have our good moments. I mean, I had so many fun moments with them where we're laughing and I like, almost peed my pants, and a lot of really good fun moments. But overall, at the end of this season, I just felt like I had been a little bit ostracized and singled out and not supported. Like that's how I felt.
Right.
And people are like, oh, she's such a crybaby. She's always making herself to be the victim. And I'm like, no, like I'm not. I'm just saying how I felt, and if that's not what it looks like or what other people perceive it to be, then that's fine. But I was really sad actually, because the person that I thought I was going to get along the most with when I started filming was Cam.
Yeah.
Because we both love dogs. Like I love my dog and she loves her dogs. And before filming had begun, we had actually hung out once and gone to dinner. And she's like, we're going to have so much fun. And we actually, I don't know which one of us came up with it, but we're like, let's be the pink posse or the pink princesses, something pink. Cause I was like, I love the color pink too. And, we were being so silly and fun. And she was like, girl, I love shopping. Shopping's my cardio. And I'm like, me too. I love shopping. And we just had like so many similarities, and our kids are sort of the same age. So going into filming, I was like, I'm going to be best friends with Cam. Like, it's funny what you think, and then you look at it later and you're like, oh, dodo bird. And so then it really made me sad when she sort of like aligned with Carrie, who kind of like brought out a certain mean spirit in her that I didn't see before. And then the alliances were made. It's so weird. It's like, and just like that, it was like Brandy and Stephanie, me and Deandra, Cam and Carrie. Like it was just that happened organically and naturally within the first few weeks of filming. And once that happened, and I felt that like Cam and Carrie did not like me and were like, pushing me into the pool and then laughing about it and things like that. Like, I was just like, oh, well, there goes the friendship that I thought I would have.
Right. But then you and Deandra are still cool?
Yeah, we're cool. We just saw each other not too long ago, like a week ago at a Christmas party. But yeah, she's great. I mean, Deandra and I were never best friends. We're not like call each other every day or even every week. I don't really have a lot of close friends because mostly I just work and hang out with my family.
Right.
But she's always been there when I needed her. We see each other at events. She's a ton of fun. But it's not like, I call her every day. I mean, it was like that. Yeah.
Is it tough for you? Because like you have a relationship with Leanne, you have the relationship with Deandra. Is it ever like tough being middleman?
I don't play middleman with them. Like, they have a lot of history and hurt feelings. When Leanne and I get together, we don't talk about Deandra. And when Deandra and I get together, we don't talk about Leanne. And I think this is the problem in Dallas, that like people are so like, oh, if you're friends with her, then you can't possibly be friends with me. Right. And I'm like, we're running out of people to be friends with, you guys.
Right. No one likes each other.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like, oh, let's not be friends with her because she knows that other girl that we don't like. And I'm like, but I've never even met this girl. And you're already telling me not to like her. I've never even spoken to her. And this is what people do here. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. Like, I can't play these games. So yeah, it's not a secret that Leanne and Deandra are not friends. But I am friends with both of them. And my friendship with both of them have nothing to do with the other person. So
that's good.
Yeah.
Listen, at least for you and like the pool, like, no, come to this side, because it was on the show. It was that you're going to be cool with her. No, that's not cool with me. Right. Like, it's like the high school, we're back in high school again. Right. Like, pick sides.
Yeah. I can't do that. Like, I don't do that well, which is perhaps, why I didn't do very well.
Were you shocked that they were like, we're going to put the season like on hold, like put the series, the franchise on hold?
No, I wasn't shocked at all. I had talked to production about it. I was in a joking sense when we were having trouble casting new people and stuff. And I was joking, but not really. And I was like, you know what? Just put the whole freaking thing on pause for now. And I actually said, I remember saying it. So I wasn't shocked at all.
Well, look, I mean, I'm surprised though, because you said I'm going to be besties with Cam. That didn't happen. So I'm surprised the opposite didn't happen. Like, they're like, we're bringing it back. Like, you know, I mean, I don't know. So do you, looking back, I mean, you went through, you know, a lot, right? Are you happy you did it?
Yeah, I think overall I'm happy. If I could do some things differently, I certainly would. But you don't get to do life like that. And overall, like, I had a good experience. I learned so much about myself, about my marriage, about my children. You know, I cut back at work as a result of, you know, all the feelings that I was experiencing. And most of all, I met so many wonderful people, like through the Bravo sphere, that I would not have met if I did not join the show. And that has opened up so many doors for me in terms of friendships and business opportunities. So like, I'm really glad that I did it, but yeah, it was hard.
I mean, yeah, I just like, you want to try something new, right? And then you're just like, oh my gosh, like when the EP was like, you sound the happiest that you sounded in a year. Is that just, you know, what's so crazy too? You just said the relationship with my mom, and like in our world, Bravo people watching your show world, it's so crazy because how do we gloss over that? Because all these other things happen. That's probably the most important thing. Your relationship with your mom, yet we're thinking the Brandy video, we're thinking chicken foot, you know what I'm saying? And like the real stuff, you're like, oh yeah, duh, your mom. Like that whole huge piece of the puzzle for you. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Isn't that crazy? I know. I feel like we could just go back and like reshoot and redo over the chicken foot thing. If I had known that it was going to cause this amount of turmoil for me, I would have never suggested to Cam to eat a chicken foot. Like, we legit thought that it would be funny. Like, you know, like hazed her to eat a chicken foot, like Carrie hazed me to take a tequila shot. You know, like it was all in good fun until it wasn't. Like it's all fine until someone hits below the belt. And then it's like not okay. You know what I mean?
Do you see any world where you two ever like make amends and actually, for real, actually are like, we're okay?
I mean, never say never. Like, my heart is open, and obviously, you know, I'm a Christian and I believe in forgiveness, but like, she and her family members really like caused a lot of harm to me and my career potentially. So like that was not okay, you know? But I mean, look, who knows? Like maybe we'll all forgive each other, say sorry, sing kumbaya, and hold hands. I don't know what's happening.
What do you think are the better odds? Leanne and Deandra coming together, or you and Cam?
Where's my white flag? I see and desist.
And on that one, listen, there's lots of things that were like, oh my gosh, what happened? But what was like the one best part of doing this show?
Honestly, that it opened up my world to wonderful people like yourself and the other, you know, Bravo fans and people who reach out to me and say like, you know, I'm an immigrant too. Like, thank you for being on TV. And, you know, I too have mom guilt about being away from my kids as much as I am. And you really verbalize that in a way that hit home with me. Like, thank you for that. Like that, those messages mean the most to me.
That's awesome. Listen, find the silver lining, right? Through the shit.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, there's a lot of finding silver linings in the year 2021.
But like you said, look at what you're doing now. Okay. Tell me what you're doing. You have candles. Like what? Tell me, go.
During quarantine, because all of our elective surgeries got canceled, I was at home more and I have severe anxiety. And then you layer COVID on top of that. And I was just like freaking out. And so I would go down to the basement in order to calm myself and mix essential oils and like make candle scents.
No.
So I started, yes. And so I started making them, and now we have like 20 scents. It's crazy. My basement is full of candles. There's like at least 200 candles down there right now. And I'm always trying like new scents. So I named it aromasthesia, which is half aromatherapy and half anesthesia. And then I named all the candle scents after anesthesia drugs. So the ones that are more like sleepy time are the relaxing scents, like lavender, eucalyptus. And then the more energizing scents like grapefruit, citrus, melon are the more wakey drugs that I give you at the end of surgery so that, you know, I can wake your ass up and take you to the recovery room. So I thought they're all cute, and all of them have a tagline, you know, like housewives. Like lidocaine is what we use to start IVs, to like make a little numbing thing.
Right.
And so lidocaine's tagline is like, for humans who need some numbing. And then remember on the boat when Brandy was like giving everyone Zofran because we were all sick because the boat was moving and I was going to throw up. So that drug is called ondansetron, all the generic names. And so that one's tagline is for upset mummies or people who have who are expecting mummies. Like, because I had to take Zofran all the time when I was pregnant because I was just like nauseous all the time.
Right. Yeah. Who doesn't have Zofran stashed in their cupboard somewhere?
Right. Like if you're a good mom, you should have some Zofran stashed away, some Benadryl, a whole first aid kit. I am such a crazy person. I have a whole intubation kit. I have a pediatric one and an adult one. So, you know, if anyone goes down at this house,
you're ready.
Me, I will intubate them.
That is amazing. But do you like
the problem is going to be if I go down, no one's going to save me.
You're screwed. Yeah. Bye.
We're all
see you later. Sleepy, bye for good.
Like here's a candle for you. Night.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay, so candles, we're selling that. Okay, so where can everyone find these to buy them?
They are on my website, tiffanymoonmd.com. You just click the shop button and there's 20 cents of candles. They are all hand poured in Dallas by an all-female team. I'm very proud of that.
That's
yes.
Awesome.
They're triple scented with essential oils. So they fill up the room. Like I'm doing a test scent right now and it is very fragrant in here.
Strong.
I'm always strong, very strong. See, this one's not labeled because it's a tester. So I test all my stuff. I have 2 girls like literally hand pouring these candles, like wiping the jars off, putting labels on them. I'm going to make my children start doing it, you know, because we're on Christmas break now. There's going to be some child labor going down in the basement of my home.
Why else do you have children?
You don't want to eat dinner, go label some candles, okay?
Isn't that why you have kids? Clean, laundry. Let's go. No free rides here.
No free rides. That private school is really expensive, you know. So the candles are my main thing. My husband and I also started making our wine available for purchase. So we have a winery. We've had it for about 10 years, but it's private. It's small label. We only have like 10 barrels a year. But because it was featured on the show and it got a lot of press, we started making more of it. So now the wine is available online for purchase, but actually we just had a huge holiday order. People were ordering like cases of wine for holiday parties. And I have to go check the inventory, but I think we're going to be out soon. And also I keep drinking it.
and PS, by the way, I've had more than people have ordered. Side note, but that is amazing.
I'm basically burning all my own candles and drinking all my own wine.
Listen,
so if the business doesn't do well, I'll just use it myself.
Can you make one of the candles for me, Drunken side piece?
Yes, I will make you a candle that says that.